my name is Tanya Hathaway, and thanks for taking the time to come to this morning. It is true, I am a scorned woman from New Hampshire whose whirlwind marriage ended very quickly after 6 months. I'm really not here to talk about my situation other than I will just throw a couple little bullet points out there for you to understand what led me into this, okay? I do have in the back, I printed out some brochures real quick, and I am now a radio show host with Marty Oakley. I'm advocate whistleblower for other people as a result of what has happened to me in Oklahoma, the state that doesn't even have subject matter jurisdiction, period, over me. Open and closed, black and white case. However, they seem to want to argue it. If the House didn't have any of my money into it, I wouldn't have been fighting it. I have more money into the House than he did. So it's a very complicated, long, complex story, whereas abused all along. I was forced to testify while I was incapacitated. I had panic attacks. I was refused a friend. I had given my medical records to be seen privately to look at my medical records. I had been subpoenaed back into the courtroom while I was being treated by EMTs twice. The first time, I took a trazodone for the very first time in my life. And my doctor, my psychiatrist that I started seeing when the legal abuse started, had prescribed it for me after I let him know that I was not allowed an ex-friend, even though I certainly should have been. So and I also have PTSD. So my disability rights were violated. And that's just a little bit of a snippet of it. I went back into the courtroom after I had been subpoenaed to come back into a trial. This is almost 4 years after this whole thing started. I'm going back and forth to Oklahoma a number of times. And I chewed the trazodone so that it could get quickly into my system and that I could do what I was supposed to do. And I started getting slurry and woozy and this and that, and now I use it to sleep. That's what it's really good for. But I can't remember about 20 minutes into that trial. The other attorney had said, I wound up representing myself ultimately because I had 2 attorneys that only worked against me. And this is what happens when you're involved with a court, a judge, and a district that is heavily saturated. I don't use this word lightly, but I know it's true because I've seen the forensic with RICO inside that court. So anyways, so the other attorney said, geez, let's let Tanya sit down because she could see that I was doing this a little bit. And I said, you know what, Your Honor? I said, you summoned me back in here. I said, I took a trazodone, and right now I'm incapacitated. I cannot continue representing myself. And I was there alone. It was my 8th trip alone. And so she did motion to strike, and the judge struck it. So, anyways, I have recordings of a lot of the abuse from the trial. The transcripts are not anywhere near what the recordings are. It took me over a year and a half to actually listen to the recordings of what happened because of the trauma that it's caused. It is ongoing. Those are just little snippets of the kinds of abuse that I endured in that courtroom. But we're all here because of something that happened. And it's no fluke that this happened to me. I wasn't alone. I was on the Dr. Phil show before this thing got really bad, so it got into the public a little bit, and then the guy that I married, I won't say that He's my ex because I refused to acknowledge a fraudulent order as much as I want to be divorced. They stole everything from me, and I'm supposed to owe them a couple $100,000 in attorney fees. Why? Because I stood up to the court. I said, no, they're used to just steamrolling right over you. Bam, bam, bam. Just like that. They've got a checklist. I've got to go this order of protection against me, contempt, this, that, and the other thing. So anyways, the next day, same thing happened. The EMTs looked at me and they said, no, this time you're going to the hospital. I had 10% oxygen. I'm still summoned back to go. I asked for a continuation for the following day and they refused me. All right, I don't really want to get too far into that. But if you want to know more about that, you can just Google New Hampshire woman takes on Oklahoma. Okay, you'll find it. All right. As a result, people were contacting me because it was on the cover of Tulsa World that this ORU Christian professor lawyer was fired from ORU for going on the Dr. Phil show, confronting 3 women that happened to say very similar things. Okay, so people are contacting me saying, "Oh my gosh, Tanya, we've had these things going on at the court too, and this and that." And I have this group here. I put together like 10 years of forensics, and I can show you where these multi-million-dollar trusts are being siphoned, heisted, forgery. My judge was an attorney, and he became a special judge as the prize for being forged onto a trust for many millions of dollars, heists. The same district, the same judge, the same attorney that is very, very much involved. If you start looking up the attorneys, the judges, and I went on and did my research, to confirm what was being told to me by these people. And I saw all these links. It's all put together, and you can see where things are forged, where people's lives have been suspiciously ended. So in the brochure back there, I've been working with a lot of victims. People have been contacting me, and I guess I'm doing a good enough job that I was recently hacked. And a lot of stuff was taken off my Facebook page, including, and it came straight from that law firm, I venture to say. Because the attorney had, I saw some correspondence where he said, did you see that hear that podcast? Oh my gosh, that's got to come off. And I'm like, and I said to the victim, I said, great, let him sue you for defamation. Let him sue you for slander, because then you won't be suppressed anymore. You can show the proof that he suppressed you. So what are we used to? We're used to suppression, oppression. We're used to dockets being tampered with, sealed. We are used to, this is the norm. This is not a fluke. It doesn't mean all judges, all districts, all attorneys are like this. They're not. They're not. My brother's a DA. He's a darn good one, okay? But just that being said, where it happens, it is happening. So a lot of us have dealt with eyes rolling, right? This can't be true. This can't, no way. How can they do it? Well, we'd like to know the same thing. So what do I think about it? Well, I think we need to deal with judicial immunity issues. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And I won't go on too much longer. Oh, okay. Okay, sure. All right. Well, I had other things to say, but that's okay. Thank you very much.